All right, good morning, everyone. We have a 4-game NBA slate to go over. And these weekends, they feel like NFL Sunday because you wake up early and you got a slate. But I'm excited to talk about this one. The slate yesterday, since I didn't have a video, I can give you a quick recap. I had basically like 10% owned Joel Embiid on pace for close to 80, blowout. Nurkic on pace for at least 40 plus, blowout. Just the blowout slate. Blowout slate. I had Pat Connaughton, as did about 60% of the field in the higher dollar stuff. That was a huge bust. Very, very happy for Ben Forbes and all the people that played him, and he just couldn't miss. Oh, that first game tilted me so much to start the day. I knew it was kind of over when you had somewhat chalky Bryn Forbes. It started good for me. His first shift, 0 of 3, and about a quarter and a half through the game, he had 0 points, and he was chalk. I'm like, yes, this is looking good. People are idiots for playing Bryn Forbes. And then he just comes out and hits like 5 threes before the end of the half. And I'm just like, okay, gotta eat my words. All right, so let's go over what we know so far, guys. I don't think there's any other breaking news here for these early games, at least. We got Taj starting again for the Knicks. Whoever I play with the bigs, usually play the opposite. Played Noel 2 games ago. It was Taj. Played Taj last night. It was Noel. So, yeah, that's been pretty tilting too, the Knicks big man rotation and who actually gets the production. But yeah, so let's go over these odds really quick, and then I'll go team by team, talk about the players I like, and get to questions at the end. I'm going to go a little bit faster since we got about 20 minutes left. So Knicks Hawks is 209.5 over under. The Hawks 5-point favorites. Suns and Lakers are 209.5 over under as well. Lakers 6.5-point favorites. Nets and Celtics are 228.5 over under. The Nets are 7.5-point favorites. As I mentioned the last time, I was like, hey, I love the Celtics for GPPs. Again, everyone smashed besides the guy I played, Kemba Walker. And then finally, Clippers and Mavs, 221 over under. The Clippers are currently 3-point favorites. All right, guys, so real quick, if you guys are just coming in, if you could, leave a like button on the live stream. It helps me out a ton. We're at 30 likes already. Try to hit 100 before the end of the show. And, yeah, let's do it. So New York, Atlanta. On the New York side, don't think I can get to Julius Randle right now. 6-23, 5-16, 2 of 15. Sure, if you want to try the buy low narrative and go for him, I guess. But, I still prefer other stars, even at that price, to Randall. So, nothing more than a contrarian play right now. Derrick Rose is once again the guy for me. Should play close to 40 minutes. Again, a guy that can kind of do it all. I think he's still a little bit underpriced. So, I think Derrick Rose is safe with some upside. Definitely one of the better plays of the slate. RJ Barrett at 5'8". Again, he's been losing minutes. Back-to-back games under 30. He's not been shooting well either. Same thing I'll say about Julius Randle. If you want to go for the buy low narrative, you can. But I don't feel super comfortable about it. Again, yeah, Tibbs, the rotation's kind of been inconsistent too. Alec Burks was somewhat popular last slate. They'll kind of go with the hot hand with him. If he's playing well, he could push for 30 minutes. If he's not, they might limit him to lower 20s. So it's basically all these secondary plays for the Knicks are risky because of these minutes. Reggie Bullock, he played 19 minutes in the first game and then 38 the second. So it's who knows, right? Who knows how many minutes he's going to get. With Taj and Noel, I would assume Taj probably gets about 25-ish and Noel the rest. But, they said Noel was going to be at a minutes limit last game and he played 22 minutes. I mean, again, they might just go with a hot hand here too with the bigs so that there's a little bit of risk involved with either of them. I think I would have a slight preference to Taj over Noel because he's actually power forward eligible. And then quickly, it's nothing more than the dart throws. This Knicks team's tricky, right? It is. Derrick Rose is far and away the best play in this team. Randall and Barrett are fine buy low options, contrarian GPP plays. Value options like Burks, Bullock, Noel, Gibson, minutes going to fluctuate, so there's risk involved with all those guys. All right, on the Atlanta side, once again, Trae Young is far and away the best play in this team. 35-plus minutes, going to shoot the ball a ton. He had a great first half, kind of cooled off in the second half, but I think he's still firmly in play at the top. Capella and Collins, I'm just going to continue to stay away from. I just don't think it's worth it at their respective prices, even to try to get contrarian. Capella finally had his best game and went for 36 fantasy points. So I'm just going to stay away from both bigs. Bogdanovich, I think it's a fine contrarian play. He also should play big minutes. Ownership will be low on him. If people are going to play some of the Hawks again, they're going to go to Trae Young. I don't hate going to Bogdan to get a little bit different, but again, does it really stand out? No. The guy that does stand out to me, and I'm not super excited about it, but it's DeAndre Hunter. It's a minutes thing, right? He played 35 minutes last game. He's not been the best point per minute guy, but as I always say with these playoff slates, there's not a lot of value right? Or there's not a lot of good value that are going to play big minutes. And DeAndre Hunter is a value play that's going to play big minutes, most likely. So I think DeAndre Hunter, for that reason, looks like a really solid value play. Herter actually lost a little bit of minutes last game. I think we had around 20 to 25, a fair contrarian value play. Gallinari at 4-4 is, again, playable, kind of has to hit his shots. You can go there. I probably feel a little bit more comfortable with DeAndre Hunter, though. I think he plays more minutes. Now, if you're building a pretty chalky lineup, you want to get different, you can just go Gallinari over Hunter to differentiate yourself. All right, let's move on to Phoenix and the Lakers. On the Phoenix side, I have a hard time getting to Devin Booker, even with Chris Paul questionable. It's just the Lakers have been doing a good job defensively. It's not a good matchup at all. Right now, he's more of a contrarian play. Chris Paul, there's just no way I'm touching him, even at this price. He's just, again, not looking like himself. Once again, my favorite play on the Suns is DeAndre Ayton. He's going to play about 40 minutes. Should get a double-double as long as he stays out of foul trouble. I think DeAndre Ayton looks a really solid play there at that price. And then Cam Payne has had back-to-back really good games here. If you think they continue to limit Chris Paul, or even if Chris Paul gets ruled out, Cam Payne looks phenomenal. If Chris Paul is in, then there's some more risk involved with Payne, but I still think we probably get about 25 to 30 minutes from him. So, Cam Payne's been playing well. I think he looks great if Chris Paul is out. If Chris Paul's in, he becomes a little bit riskier, but still, again, they're going to need his minutes, and I don't think Chris Paul gets full run. I'm not touching Mikal Bridges. Jay Crowder tilted me to no one in the last game. Started 0 of 7 and got in foul trouble. Still got 23 fantasy points, too. Right? Imagine if he has a decent shooting game where he doesn't get in foul trouble. I think we normally get about 35 minutes from Crowder, but again, he's been in foul trouble every single game this series. He has shot awful. He can't hit the broadside of the barn. I think that will lower the ownership. Again, a fine contrarian value play. Cam Johnson at 3.5. I don't think I want to get to him. We'll probably get about 20 minutes, but all right, let's move on to the Lakers. On the Lakers side, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, it's a tougher matchup. I think they're both more contrarian options. AD is questionable, but he fully expects to play. Schroeder, secondary play. Drummond's always fine for tournaments. I'm not touching Kyle Kuzma. Now, KCP is currently questionable. That is pretty significant. He's a guy playing like 30 to 35 minutes. If he misses, I'm guessing it's going to be some more minutes for guys like Caruso, maybe Wes Matthews, maybe THT plays a couple extra minutes. So keep an eye on who they end up starting there. Possible value. Either way, like if KCP is out and Caruso doesn't start, I still think that means more minutes for Caruso. So like Caruso would probably be the guy I look to first if KCP is out, because I think he gets more run even if he doesn't start. Gasol's played the back of 5 last couple games. If you want to roll the dice on him in about 15 to 20 minutes, I think you could do worse for value, but again, not something I love. All right, so we're halfway in, guys. Brooklyn and Boston, let's move on. If you guys could, again, leave a like button. If you're just coming in, we're at already 200 viewers and 51 likes for a Sunday morning. I'm very sleepy. Yeah, I got the coffee, man. You can probably tell my voice. I'm very tired, yeah. All right, so Brooklyn and Boston. On the Brooklyn side, same thing I'll say. The big three, no stand-up plays here, but if I'm going to play one, it's going to be Kevin Durant, since he has the highest floor. 52, 52, 62 fantasy points last 3 games. If this game case stays competitive, I think you can see a pretty decent game from KD. So he's once again my favorite play. Harden had the big game last game. I don't think it's the worst GPP play, but not something I'm really prioritizing. And same with Kyrie Irving. Like Kyrie, Harden more tournament plays. KD, I think you go to in either format, because KD, I think, has just the highest floor there. All right, so let's move on to the value here for Brooklyn. Joe Harris at 5.2. As I said, it's like, hey, I think he's going to be decently popular after he had the just lights-out shooting game, and he came back down to earth. And this is why I don't like playing score-independent guys. This is why I was trying to talk people off Bryn Forbes, but sure enough, Bryn Forbes is just the GOAT now, I guess. But yeah, Joe Harris is a guy I'm probably going to stay away from. Now, with the bigs, with Jeff Green out, Blake Griffin last game, he played 25 minutes, fair value, and Nick Claxton played 16. If you need a dart, you can go to Claxton. I said about 15 to 20 minutes. He got 16 minutes. Again, you could do worse, but it's like you're probably not going to get huge run unless something weird happens. People try to get to Bruce Brown. His minutes didn't really go up. I'll stay away. I think Landry Shamet got a little bit of run, but that's not something I want to touch. So it's really not a ton of value. I think that if I'm going to go to value in Brooklyn, it's either Griffin or Claxton. I don't think I get to anyone else. On the Boston side, so once again, I'm very high in this team. And get the clown paint out for me, because I'm just going to say this. If I fade Kemba Walker today and he goes off, I am going to lose my mind. So I might, by default, just have to continue to play him. I'm not saying to play Kemba Walker, but it's just like for my mental, like if I fade Kemba this game and he smashes, I am literally, again, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose it. So he has been absolutely god-awful this series in playoffs. 19, 31, 20 fantasy points. Can't shoot, can't do anything. But to end the regular season, he was phenomenal. This is a great matchup. Again, I don't think you can go there in a cash game setting, but for GPPs, I really like Kemba. And then Tatum, mentioned him, loved him last slate. I didn't unfortunately get to him, but I got to Kemba, who did nothing, and Tatum goes for 76. So Tatum, I think, is probably the little bit of a safer option of the two. Again, if this game stays competitive, you're going to see some big scores from Boston. The only risk here is potential for a blowout. So, got to take that in consideration. If you want to just full fade this game and hope for the blowout, I think that's a perfectly viable strategy as well. But, as I said, basically every game so far this series, if Boston keeps this game competitive, you're going to see some big scores from at least one of these guys. So Tatum and Kemba, most likely to do the heavy lifting, even though, again, Kemba's been awful this series. I think Marcus Smart is a fine play in the mid-range. He's going to play big minutes. He's a do-it-all guy. I think a very fair play. Evan Fournier, he's just been disappointing. Again, playable, but I think I would give a slight edge to Marcus Smart. And we got to talk about a really good player in the mid-range, and Tristan Thompson. Rob Williams doubtful. Thompson should play about 30 minutes. Good point per minute guy. The Brooklyn front court's not great, so I like Tristan Thompson a lot here. I think he's one of the better kind of mid-range plays on this slate. Bench guys, I'm just going to stay away. Again, Rob Williams, don't expect him to play. Grant Williams actually played the backup 5, but like they could rotate that. Again, you never know what Brad Stevens is going to do. He could throw Luke Cornett out there for a little bit. Again, Jabari Parker, the first game of the series, played 22 minutes, then 6, then a DNP. I think like last game randomly, like Romeo Langford got run, maybe because of Kemba news. Again, I'm just not touching it, right? I have no faith in the Boston bench. Now, if Kemba surprisingly gets ruled out here, then that changes a lot. Then I would assume Peyton Pritchard starts, and if he does start, he becomes a fantastic value. And then like a boost to Tatum, a boost to Smart, a boost to Fournier. But like Luka, I expect Kemba to play. And let's finish up with the Clippers and the Mavs game. So this is my favorite game to stack. It'll be the late two games that have the most upside, but this game I'm the most confident stays close. Both teams go small. Both rotations are thin. This is a game I like once again. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are still too cheap. I'm fine going right back to the well. I think you could play both again. I really do. I think they're both still underpriced, and I think Kawhi Leonard should be about 10K, and Paul George should be at least above 9K. So they are still too cheap here. They are still going to play 40-plus minutes. This is still a must-win game. I love Kawhi. I love Paul George. Now the bench. So this is where things get a little bit tricky. Both teams going really small. I'm not going to touch the bigs. If Ibaka plays, I'm still not touching it. Zubac barely played again. The pick and roll, they just abused him when he got switched on to Luka. So I'm staying away from both bigs. I think they barely play here. The guys I want to look to are basically every other guy here. So Rajon Rondo here, 4.8K. He played well defensively in Luka. I think he could play more this game. We know he's a decent point per minute guy. I'm intrigued by Rondo there, 4.8. I think Marcus Morris is playable. He also should play big minutes. He's been shooting the ball terrible this series, but hey, he could pick it up. Reggie Jackson's a guy I do like a good amount here. So I wanted to see what his minutes were last game. He played 34, so 30 and 34 minutes now for Reggie Jackson. He's a good offensive player. He's at 4.4. If we get close to 30 minutes, I think he looks at one of the better values of the slate. So is there risk though with Reggie Jackson? Yeah, right. These Clippers rotations have been pretty inconsistent. So I feel like if Reggie starts the game off bad, then they could just go to Rondo. They could go to Terrence Mann. They can go to Batum, right? They have other options they can go to. So there's still risk with Reggie, but if we get close to 30 minutes again, I think he looks like a good value. I just think there's a little bit of risk that if he starts off the game really bad, they could limit his minutes. And then Nick Batum, minutes all over the place, 32, then 19, then 27. I think they need to play him more in the series. Like he's a guy that they need him out there. I think he gets 25-ish to 30 minutes, and at 4K, I think that looks pretty decent for a guy that, again, can hit some threes. And finally, Terrence Mann. They said they wanted to play him more. He played 19 minutes. I would assume we get similar run, so I think he's a fair contrarian value play. Pat Beverly barely played. He played 6 minutes. I have absolutely zero interest in him, but yeah, Clippers, love Kawhi, love Paul George, not touching the bigs, but the rest of the guys, like Rondo, Morris, Reggie, Nick Batum, even Terrence Mann, I think are pretty solid values. Let's finish it up and close it out with the Dallas Mavs. Again, I fully expect Luka to play. I fully expect Kleber to play. Kleber's been questionable last couple of games he's played. Luka questionable, but like he's gonna tough it out. I would be shocked if Luka doesn't play. Now, real quick, I will just break it down. If Luka surprisingly doesn't play, you play Brunson, you play Josh Richardson, you play Tim Hardaway, you probably try to play Kristaps Porzingis. You just load up on the Mavs because if Luka's out, that just changes everything, right? He's the whole offense. So it's like it's Brunson, J. Rich, Hardaway, Porzingis, basically any main rotation piece. You want to load up on the Dallas Mavs if, surprisingly, Luka gets ruled out. So, like, could you build a lineup and kind of hope Luka's out? And if Luka gets ruled out, surprisingly, like, late in the day, then you're just looking in great shape. But I fully expect him to play. So that being said, Luka Doncic, if I'm going to spend all the way up, he's my favorite spend up. Should play about 40 minutes. It's just a matter of what he had to sacrifice to get it. Now he's gone 71, 61, and 71 fantasy points last 3 games, so he's been phenomenal. Again, though, like there is on most playoff sites, there's lack of value, so it's just what you had to sacrifice to get him in there. But I still like Luka if you can afford him. Porzingis, I tried to roll the dice on him last slate. He just looked absolutely awful. If he has a good game today, like I said with Kemba, I am going to lose my mind. I'm going to be very, very mad. So Porzingis, nothing more than contrarian play. He just looked disinterested out there. Again, if he has a big game today after he busted for me last game, I'm going to be so upset. Tim Hardaway Jr. I warned people, hey, people loved Tim Hardaway last night. I was like, hey, he's got to hit the shots, and he shot 4-14 and 1 for 21 fantasy points. Now, it is encouraging that he played 40 minutes. I think he's actually a pretty solid play in the mid-range. Just be careful because the floor is somewhat low if he doesn't hit shots. Now, if he shoots well like he did 2 games ago, he has upside. He can go for 40. So I think Hardaway's a pretty solid play here. There's still a little bit of risk though because he's so reliant on the scoring. Going to stay away from Dorian Finney-Smith. Kleber, once again, I think it's a decent value. You should play about 35 minutes. Same thing I'll say about Hunter. That's right. Am I going to get excited about playing DeAndre Hunter? No, but he's going to play about 35 minutes. Am I going to get excited about playing Maxi Kleber? No, but he should play about 35 minutes. Again, lack of value. These are guys you had to consider on the slate. Again, Brunson. I actually think he's a fine contrarian value play. Brunson's a good point per minute guy. He played 22 minutes, so 21, 17, 22. I think we get about 20 minutes from him if Luka plays, obviously. And I think that makes him actually a pretty interesting GBP play. I think he's going to go overlooked. I actually do kind of like him for tournaments for, again, contrarian value play. And then I will mention Cauley Stein because he's played 15 and 14 minutes last couple games. A guy that can fall into some rebounds and putbacks, maybe a block. If you need someone at close to min price, you can go there. Just be careful because there's always a chance with Rick Carlisle. He could go to Powell. He can maybe even go to like he'll do something weird. So like there's no guarantee Cauley Stein even plays. But yeah, that's where I'm at, guys. So got about 5 bets left for some questions. Let's refresh again. I'm gonna need another sip of this coffee and let's do it. And I appreciate you guys coming to check out the stream early. Again, it's an early stream, 240 viewers and 65 likes. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you a lot. Porzingis, waste of... He's been bad, man. I mean, I watched that whole game. He just, like, stood in the corner. Like, the times he got the ball, it was, like, a high post up. And, like, it was just, like, looked so slow and sluggish. Ugh. Let's see. So, Paul George, Marcus Smart, Maxi Kleber, Bullock, or Rose, Bogdanovich, Hunter, and Crowder. Ooh. Maybe a small lean to the first one, but that's close. Best spend up. So what are you considering a spend up, right? Are we talking guys like basically 10K plus, or are we talking guys like 8K plus? What do you consider spend up? Because I think my favorites, if we're considering like 8K plus, it's the Clippers guys again. If we're going all the way to the top, it's Luka or Tatum. Kemba is the Jimmy Butler of the slate. I just keep playing. Basically my thoughts too. I'm so glad the Heat lost because I could stop losing money with Jimmy Butler and Dragic. That also tilted me. Tyler Hero like career game in the first half to limit Dragic to like 11 minutes. Oh, man. Guard 4.9K and below. Already have Reggie. All right, so let's take a look there. 4.9K and below, and you already have Reggie Jackson. Yeah, then I think I would probably play Rondo. Honestly, I think Rondo. I think they want to play more. He played well defensively on Luka. Trade Tim Hardaway and Kleber or PG, TT and Crowder. Already have Kawhi and Reggie. That's pretty close. I mean, I think I still have a slight preference, though, to the second one. And just hope Crowder hits his shots. Because Tristan Thompson looks great on this slate. He really does, right? I think the way he fails is a blowout. And Paul George, like I said, I think him and Kawhi are still underpriced. So I'm fine loading up in the Clippers, to be honest. I am. They're my favorite team to target, them and the Celtics. LeBron and Smart or Luka and Rondo for cash? I think I go with the second one. Yeah, because I think Rondo plays a good amount of minutes here. I do. Thoughts on Schroeder? It's a fine filler play. Like, he's probably not going to kill you. But does he have GPP winning upside? No. So like, I think he'll get somewhere around 30 fantasy points and play about 34 minutes. So yeah, it's playable. But like, yeah, top fade. I will once again say the Brooklyn big three, and it's just because same thing as I always say, it's hard to nail down who it's going to be. It was harder in KD the last game. But if I'm playing for like that game to stay close, I would rather take the discounts on a guy like Tatum or even like a Kemba Walker, unfortunately. And I just prefer the late game is the game I like the best for sure. DK for NBA commissioner, appreciate it, man. I can't do Crowder. Oh, don't get me started with that again. So like the team Payne, if you just like Payne for this slate, you should probably play. Let's see. You should play Kemba Walker. You should play Jay Crowder. You should play Julius Randle. If you like Payne, this is what you should do. I know that Kleba or Batum. So that's a tricky one. I think Kleba's a little bit safer, but like I think this is a game Batum plays 25 to 30 minutes, and Batum's the better point per guy of the two. So that one's close. DK, would you play for the blowout in Boston? Tatum cannot keep this up. It was one game. He'll run out of gas soon. You could definitely play for the blowout. Like that game's going to be, I think, somewhat popular. And if you just want to fully avoid that game and hope for the blowout, that's a perfectly viable strategy, right? Now, if I'm doing that, if I'm avoiding Brooklyn, Boston, hoping for a blowout, I'm going to get even more exposure to that late game. Payne, Rose, Durant, Tatum, Thompson, Jackson, Hunter, and Kleber for GPP. The only issue I have with that is you don't have Kawhi, you don't have Paul George. I once again think they're two of the best plays this slate. Y'all playing for a Celtics blowout at home, promise taking your money. Yeah, again, if it could happen. It could happen. All right, 7.5 point spread. How do you feel about Schroeder? Fine filler option, but doesn't really stand out. Celtics forward, Nets in 5. I mean, I get it. Again, if you think it's just a massive blowout, just avoid that game. Trey is my Jimmy. Just can't get him away from playing him. Trey's been pretty solid though. Like he hasn't really had like the huge game, but he's been pretty consistent so far in the playoffs. Is there a game I'm fading? I still haven't really finalized my lineup. Like, I know I'm playing Derrick Rose in this first game, but, like, I'm kind of just, like, waiting, I guess. So, I guess if there's one game I would go underweight on, it would be the Suns-Lakers. Yeah, KD's been good. Again, KD, if I'm going to play one of the Nets' big three, it's KD, for sure. Balance build again. I think that's optimal. I think it's optimal again just because there's not a lot of value. I love me some Payne. Yeah, then you should play Jay Crowder and Kemba Walker today. Luka, Rondo, Kleba, or Paul George, Jay Crowder, and Smart for cash. Hey, it is second one. Jay Crowder is going to be in a winning lineup today. I'll be a little bit tilted if he is. I will. I hope for a blowout last game and it got wrecked. Yeah. Again, that's the issue, right? Because, like, if that Brooklyn-Boston game, I'm just going to warn you guys, if that game stays close, you're going to need at least one player from that game, probably two, right? That game just has a ton of upside. There's going to be very little defense played. So, like, are you willing to take the risk? Because if that game stays close, you're going to need some players from that one. All right, guys, coming in last minute or so. Sorry, I haven't looked at Prize Picks. I'm just not gonna have enough time. Sorry about that. Batum or Hunter? That's a good question. I think it's Hunter. I feel more confident with his minutes, even though I think Batum does play a decent amount in this game. But I'll go DeAndre Hunter. What's up, my guy? Just checking in. How you living? Hey, appreciate it, man. Doing well. Actually moving tomorrow, so getting ready. Been packing up my place. That's kind of why I'm a little bit tired. Been packing like all day yesterday and trying to get it ready. I don't see how Doncic doesn't play. Yeah, I fully expect him to play. All right, guys, last question here. Again, appreciate you guys coming to check it out. We hit close to 300 viewers, and we're at 80 likes. So, again, thanks for all the support. John Collins, Bogdanovich, or Smart? I'll say Bogdanovich for, as weird as it sounds, I think Bogdan for like a cash game setting, but I think Smart's probably the guy I like the most if that game stays close. Favorite donut? All right, I'll answer it. Favorite cookie is definitely chocolate chip, and favorite donut, double chocolate double chocolate donut. All Payne team, Kemba, TJ, Crowder, Kyle. Yeah, that is 100% the all Payne team. 100%. Derrick Rose are smart. It's Derrick Rose. All right, guys, I'm going to call it here. Good luck. Enjoy these games. Let's hope for no blowouts, no foul trouble. None of that would be nice. And I'll be back here tomorrow. I think we got 3 games Monday. So I'll see